2018 Mini Countryman SUV Review. The good points of Mini Countryman SUV: fit-for-purpose exterior design, good interior quality, impressive level of space, intuitive multimedia and connectivity, plug-in hybrid available. The bad points of Mini Countryman SUV: big for any Mini, cockpit ergonomics, fidgety ride quality, expensive optional extras, road noise on larger wheels. Given the first Countryman wasn't that good together with delusions of grandeur, Mini could be hard-pushed never to significantly strengthen it on this second-generation outing. Happily, they have succeeded. Rivaling names like Audi's Q2, the Mercedes-Benz GLA, the BMW X1 and, perhaps, the Mazda CX-3 or Jeep Renegade, the modern Countryman has swollen a step forward in all directions. It's 200 mm longer, and also wider and taller than its predecessor. Watch which Countryman in case you buy. Whereas that first effort resembled just a mini hatchback on stilts, this place actually boasts pretensions of styling. Roof rails are fitted as standard, with matching door sill trim, and also the brand's trademark crowned headlamps are shunned in preference of an unusual blob. Vast improvement inside. The new tailgate is smaller, and it is now both power and foot operated, rogues involving you waving a shoe around underneath the rear bumper to look at it up. The tidy load space volume offers some 100 liters bigger than before, and boasts a nifty option lurking under the floor, a picnic bench which folds out without fuss to supply a padded cushion which is the best to perch while changing in your walking boots, plus an extra anti-dog claw flap of fabric to protect the sill paintwork. On board, a great deal of the symphony of plastics which dominated the primary Countryman continues to be replaced by next-generation Mini fittings, such as the latest center console X speedometer walk, now housing either 6.5 or 8.8-inch multi-information screens, rogues, an alternative, presenting touchscreen capability. Mini claims how the new Countryman improves about the standard equipment amounts of its predecessor on the tune of some £1,900. New free kit includes such goodies because the roof rails, sunroof, a rear-view camera, 17-inch alloys, Bluetooth and DAB radio and cruise control. Large suite of engines from which to choose. Under the bonnet, an all-turbo, 4-engine range includes 1.5-liter, 136 horsepower, 3-cylinder and branded 2.0-liter, 192 horsepower, 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engines, as well as a 2.0-liter diesel perfect for 150 horsepower in standard guise and 190 horsepower with all the S appended. With the exception on the auto transmission Lee Cooper SD, all power plants could be mated either to 6-speed manual or 8-speed automatic transmissions, the second available with optional flappy paddles. Every variant is also provided with all 4 all-wheel drive efficient at directing around 100% of torque with the idea to the front or rear wheels. There's also Mini's first recorded plug-in hybrid model, the Cooper SE Countryman All-4, which combines the 1.5-liter petrol engine and electric motor ability to deliver range-topping performance of 0.62 miles per hour in 6.8 seconds, while like all plug-in hybrids boasting hilarious fuel utilization of 134.5 miles per gallon. The automatic gearbox is an excellent fit with the larger, familiar-ended bulk in the Countryman, with smooth, relaxed changes. Drives just like a Mini should. Helped by the slightly longer wheelbase, the ride's superior to before, yet not great. Though a suggestion more suppleness may be built in, There's still an arrangement of bump thump, and also the car never really settles, its restlessness on poorer surfaces especially noticeable at pottering speeds. The steering feels meaty regardless if maneuvering, but that weight is a bit more pleasing as speeds rise and seems a fitting accompaniment to the modern found bulk on the car. Given its greater heft and added ground clearance, it's really no surprise to discover the Countryman handles quite definitely in the manner of an fat hatchback all-wheel drive, adding useful dollops more grip and traction. The manifold shortcomings of the first fully fat Mini didn't manage to deter buyers. Over 500,000 units were sold worldwide between 2010 and 2016, nearly 80,000 within the UK, the brand's liveliest marketplace alone. A better car at landed divorce attorney's department, this new Countryman is much more spacious and versatile than before, not to ever mention boasting a far higher quality interior. If the brand is the best bag, along with a swelling family demands a swelling car, then Mini has at long last conjured an offering fit for purpose. The verdict: the Mini Countryman can be a vast improvement above the car they have replaced. The design is much more coherent, the width now feels befitting of that premium price, and there's genuine space for 5 up to speed. It's also good drive, an automobile with an eclectic number of engines and transmissions from which to choose. However, the design and style won't be appreciated by all customers, and prices can get if you hit your options list. Click on towards the driving section below to remain watching the entire Mini Countryman review. Vast amount of powertrains from which to choose. Should be something for all. Plug-in hybrids sold. Performance is served up by the range of turbocharged engines, both petrol and diesel, in a variety of power outputs, meaning there ought to be something for many buyers, whether you need something more frugal or something like that performance-focused. Twin-power turbo-petrol engines. Kicking from the petrol range would be the Cooper, powered by the 1.5-liter 3-cylinder turbo producing 136 horsepower and 220 Nm of torque. It's good for just a 0.62 mph sprint use of 9.6 seconds, all of which will reach a highly regarded speed of 126 mph when fitted together with a 6-speed manual gearbox. Opting with the 8-speed auto takes the most notable speed into 124 mph. Opting to get a Cooper all-4 nets you a similar engine, power and torque outputs, but together with the reassurance of all-wheel drive traction. The 0.62 mph time drops to 9.8 seconds, while top speed is 122 mph. This is provided by manual or auto gearboxes. Providing a lot higher power output could be the 192 horsepower Cooper S, powered by the 2.0-liter turbo. Torque is rated at 280 Nm, and sprints from 0.62 mph in 7.5 seconds, 7.4 seconds to the auto, using a maximum top speed of 140 mph. Watch, Mini Countryman Cooper vs Cooper S that is right for you? Again, a Cooper S all-4 can be obtained for all-wheel drive security, this time using a faster 0.62 mph use of 7.3 seconds to the manual and 7.2 seconds for your auto. Top speed is 138 mph. Despite the performance figures, this kind of version from the Countryman feels less exciting than you would possibly expect, taking longer to whir into life after you put your foot down. Although the automobile gearbox is smooth enough, no particular urgency is felt or heard before turbo turns on song, at which the Countryman moves along nearly smartly enough to substantiate the claimed performance figures. Happily, all is basically quiet and composed in a cruise, along with the powertrain never runs outside of oomph on gradients at motorway speeds, without excessive recourse to downshifts. 2 diesel options. The choice of diesel engines mimics those on the petrols, at the very least in terms of naming structure. The Cooper D will be the entry point towards the diesel range, powered by the 2.0-liter turbodiesel unit producing 150 horsepower and 330 Nm of torque. The 0.62 mph Sprint is looked after in 8.9 seconds that has a manual gearbox fitted, while your vehicle takes 8.8 seconds. Top speed is 129 mph for both. An all-wheel drive version can be available within the form on the Cooper D All4, with very slightly improved performance figures. It'll change from 0.62 mph in 8.8 seconds in manual form, and 8.7 seconds while using automatic gearbox fitted. Top speed is 127 mph, on the move. Each 0.0-liter diesel engine feels in excess of up towards the task of hauling the Countryman along, with torque delivered smoothly and cleanly, specifically overtaking maneuvers. Traction through the All4 system supports clean pullaways, too, whilst it remains hushed and rarely becomes too coarse, even at higher revs. Providing more performance, but remaining economical will be the Cooper SD, powered using a 190 horsepower version on the 2.0-liter diesel perfectly found on the Cooper D. Torque is rated for a hefty 400 Nm, providing lots of punch for overtaking maneuvers, while 0.62 mph is dispatched in 7.7 seconds. And it'll go on to a premier speed of 137 mph. This would be the only Countryman not provided with a manual gearbox. The Cooper SD All4's 0.62 mph time falls to 7.4 seconds, and can reach 135 mph. John Cooper Works provides a lot more performance. At the pinnacle on the Countryman range with regard to performance would be the John Cooper Works All4. Powered by way of a 2.0-liter turbo petrol, it makes 231 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque, driven through all four wheels and also a 6-speed manual gearbox as standard. The 0.62 mph time is merely 6.5 seconds, as well as the car should go on to a top-notch speed of 145 mph. Opting for that automatic version in the JCW doesn't change any in the performance figures. Plug-in hybrid draws company car drivers. At a sensible end on the range at the least in terms of economy would be the plug-in hybrid Countryman Cooper SE All4. It combines the 136 horsepower 1.5-liter turbo through the Cooper through an electric motor producing roughly the same as 88 horsepower, building a total system production of 224 horsepower and 385 Nm of torque. It'll change from 0.62 mph in only 6.8 seconds, turning it into the second fastest Countryman after the total fat JCW. The All4 system offers the traction, as well as the ability to make model the Mini efficient at running being a rear-wheel drive. That's because there's no prop shaft for that All4 system. Instead, electric motors power the spine wheels, so whenever you're driving on battery alone, it's only rear-wheel drive. The rest in the time, the engine powers leading wheels, depending where of the e-drive modes you've selected they are driving in. There's an e-boost function, which uses power supply in reserve to offer extreme fat speeds above 78 mph, where laws permit. Otherwise, it could possibly run in auto e-drive mode, which works on the combination of petrol engine and battery chance to provide the propulsion, while battery save mode stores battery capacity to use later, for instance in an urban environment. In auto e-drive mode, the Countryman switches seamlessly between running on engine and electrical power, remaining refined continually. It's nippy too, due to instant torque available from your electric motor, and lives nearly its Cooper S badge being a result. Fully charged, The plug-in hybrid will travel for approximately 26 miles on electric batteries alone, possibly at speeds of approximately 78 miles per hour, and produces just 49 gkm of CO2. However, it may vary according to how you're driving. Putting your foot down continuously will see that battery deplete rapidly, so it's best restricted to use in town where this version really enters into its own. Good body control and little roll. Feels agile due to the size. All four models add grip and traction. Mini has spent quite a lot of money and time making sure that front McPherson strut and pricey multi-link rear suspension systems guarantee its car's handle with over a passing nod to your energy on the original Mini. And happily, despite a good degree of added bloat within the stock hatchback, the Countryman acquits itself with satisfactory aplomb. Given its extra height and ground clearance, the Countryman's never going to hold the feeling of darting agility that we've grown employed to in the Mini hatchback. Nevertheless, it corners tidily, with less roll than expected and good body control. All-wheel drive adds useful numbers of added grip and traction in foul weather, though standing water will still throw it briefly outside of kilter. Overall, the Countryman is one with the best handling crossovers on sale on account of its tidy body control and confidence-inspiring driving manners. It also helps that you simply sit low in your vehicle, making it feel more just like a regular hatchback when compared to a proper SUV. Cockpit is pure Mini with numerous character. Much easier to navigate than old model. Still fussy for most. Driving position won't suit all. Mini points to your strong penetration of Britishness it offers been able to keep in its home design, speaking about such details because the toggle switchgear, upholstery stitching reduced dashboard knit rolls as instances of detailing you'd never find in the German car. Form over function. That's fine. But we wonder if the haphazard feel to instrument and switchgear placement isn't something else we wouldn't find in a very German car. Gleefully shedding the plastic fantastic of old, the dashboard of the modern Countryman has become laden with stock, latest generation Mini model range kit. Many aficionados will probably be delighted, but, on the uninitiated eye, there appears to be hardly any homogeny here. Like individual components have already been styled in separate rooms before meeting for the primary time aboard. A pity, since the quality of fit and handle seems a substantial step change, a lot better than that of that predecessor. Setup quantity of switchgear seems overwhelming on first contact. Infotainment is slick and to operate mostly. The central lock still dominates the dashboard, but not boasts a speedometer using a face that may pass muster using a grandfather clock. Instead, it plays host on the latest generation of Mini's infotainment screens, a 6.5-inch unit fitted as standard, as well as an option 8.8-inch unit, which, for the initial time, boasts touchscreen operation and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The latter is usually a blessing, for the reason that central armrest makes accessing the rotary controller mounted immediately facing it uncomfortable, as it's set low down within the center console behind the gear lever. However, spend slightly time within the Countryman and you'll quickly educate yourself on the ins and outs. The infotainment product is derived from BMW's iDrive, meaning it's easy to control, in spite of the many menus. And you may forgive the volume of similar-looking buttons and toggle switches because, at the least, they're interesting. You can't beat a starter button that glows red before you start the auto. Lots of adjustment from the seats. Plenty of space to obtain comfortable. Firm suspension compromises ride. Once you've hiked the seat up a good degree to discover over that imposing cliff of any dashboard, the driving position, along with the front seats themselves, are perfectly comfortable. The wheel adjusts for reach and rake, and it is, when you can locate a bit of it, not plagued by switchgear to hold onto, another well-sized, comfortable fit. Not all drivers will quickly realize it an easy task to get comfortable quickly, though when we found out with this long-term Mini Countryman. The pedals feel miles away for those with smaller legs, especially noticeable after you need to depress the clutch. That may lead you to feeling too close to your wheel only to be able to reach. In turn, you might need to move the seat up higher, which feels fine regarding visibility. Then again you're jacked up high over the dashboard and center console, that makes things tricky to reach. Take efforts and adjust the seat, tire and mirrors to discover the perfect position though, since you may find yourself making small adjustments around the move in the event you do it inside a hurry. Plenty of space and bigger cabin. Some 75 mm of additional length went into the wheelbase of the newest Countryman, and the majority of that is dedicated to welcome extra knee room for rear seat passengers. The sliding rear seat benches split 60 hours 40 minutes, even though the folding seat backs are split 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds. Mini claims 5-seat status for that Countryman, but possibly not well suited for long journeys. The car is pretty quiet while cruising, with road noise and predictably because of the upright stance on the windscreen, wind noise vying for dominance within a cabin which requires just a modest hike in voice volume to allow for conversation at motorway speeds. Harsh ride compromises comfort, all of which often would prove more admirable were the automobile not dissatisfied by its ride quality. Every single version inside the Countryman range is badged Cooper, leaving the nagging suspicion that everything has become wound too tight within the undercarriage department to guarantee an amount of handling worthy in the moniker. And that's okay when you're flying along with a respectable road surface, but at gentler, family car speeds the Countryman simply will not settle down. Even the fair penetration of bump and thump over larger divots and ruts would prove acceptable were it not for your constant fidgeting with the body on definitely not mirror-smooth surfaces. Irritating. Generous equipment list as standard. Even more being added at extra expense. Don't go too wild with the spending. Mini says that standard equipment levels are already bolstered by £1,900 worth of extras compared with all the previous Countrymen, making affordable much greater than before. Standard Mini Countryman SUV equipment. A standard Mini Countryman comes using the following kit: 16-inch alloy wheels, sat-nav, DAB radio, Bluetooth phone connectivity, air conditioning, keyless start, rear view camera, cruise control, roof rails, automatic lights and wipers, 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds split folding rear seats. On top of the standard model, the Chili Pack adds different form of cloth sports seats, keyless entry, storage compartment pack, mini driving modes, climate control, LED headlights, LED fog lights, 17-inch alloy wheels, 18-inch for Cooper S and SD. Alternatively, the John Cooper Works Chili Pack adds the Chili Pack equipment, plus 18-inch JCW alloy wheels, JCW door sill finishers, tire and gear lever, bespoke body kit with JCW badges, black headlining, optional Mini Countryman SUV accessories. The options list is to try and can put in a bewildering array more equipment that might add a large amount to your price on the car in the event you don't control yourself. Many are bundled into packs, which might be expensive but represent a saving over choosing the choices individually. Navigation Plus Pack, previously called Medial Pack XL, adds a wider infotainment screen, an even more advanced sat-nav system with 3D mapping, connected services throttle for searches, wireless charging plus a 20 GB hard disk. Mini Yours Pack, leather upholstery, different trim finishes for that dashboard, slightly different tire. Mini Tech Pack, includes the Navigation Plus Pack, head-up display, Harman Kardon head unit upgrade and rear-view camera. Mini Activity Pack, larger fuel tank, electric tailgate, nets for that boot, adjustment to the rear seats, picnic bench inside the boot. Various other individual options is usually added in the shape of metallic paint, alloy wheels, contrasting roof colors and stripes, interior trim and seat fabrics. On surface of this, things such as parking sensors really are a practical option that will make life easier, while a panoramic sunroof brightens up the inner significantly. The Mini range may be confusing for a lot of, several options are bundled into packs, but sold individually in the event you want to choose. 5-star Euro NCAP crash safety rating. More kit might be added at extra expense. Makes for safe family transport. The Mini Countryman has performed well in Euro NCAP crash tests, achieving a 5-star rating. The standard collision warning with city brake function may be extended to feature a driving assistant package which uses camera-based adaptive cruise control, as well as comes with high beam assist and traffic sign recognition. In addition, useful features like parking sensors and reversing camera might make life easier, while a head-up display keeps the eye area more focused about the road. Boot larger than before. Longer wheelbase means more space. Quirky interior, a mini hallmark. The new Mini Countryman is 20 cm longer overall than your vehicle it replaces, using a 7.5 cm growth in side wheelbase. That means extra room from the cabin for passengers and luggage. Watch, will our kids fit? We test the passenger space in our Mini Countryman Cooper. Up front there's more headroom than before because of a higher roofline. The dashboard may be the usual Mini fare, having a large central speedo with widescreen with the infotainment system sitting inside the middle. It's a quirky design that's popular with look at, although it's not essentially the most ergonomic, with random buttons dotted about all in the place. However, once familiarized using the layout, it's simple to use, plus the infotainment system can be a more fun-looking version of BMW's slick iDrive system, controlled with a rotary controller. There's enough space in advance with a good amount of adjustment from the seats, even so the upright windscreen could take a little getting accustomed to compared with regular crossovers. The higher ride height means visibility is a useful one, but cars with darker tinted rear windows will see the difference. More rear seat space. Bigger changes came in a corner, where there's easier access than before on account of wider doors, even though the seats slide back and forth 13 cm as well as the backrests will tilt, too. This means adults will fit with ease along with a long journey won't cause any aching backs due to a very generous volume of legroom. There's a generous level of headroom, too, because of this high, squared-off shape. The backrests split and fold 40 hours 20 minutes 40 seconds, to help you configure it the method that you like, determined by whether you prioritize legroom over boot space and the opposite way round. Boot. Standard capacity is 450 liters to the Countryman, that is 100 liters greater than the previous car. This is usually increased 1,390 liters by folding the back seats flat, that's a 220-liter total increase within the previous generation model. That causes it to become much more competitive, featuring its crossover rivals much like the Audi Q2, Nissan Qashqai and Renault Kadjar, but it could possibly quite match as much as cars just like the Cee'd, which consists of 5 10-liter load space. Extra storage packs could be added, for instance one that adds a variable height boot floor and fixings to lash down items from the boot, while access is straightforward on higher spec models through an optional electric tailgate which could be opened by waving your foot beneath the rear bumper. You may also have a picnic bench fold out from the boot floor and perch within the rear of one's Countryman for all of those days on the races. The Countryman is with a par featuring its compact SUV rivals in relation to size, definitely not living nearly its name. That said, it's pretty simple to maneuver into small spaces because of the squared-off shape and upright windows. Where you may struggle is judging where by the front on the car is. You should definitely add parking sensors and should you're sitting particularly low down. However, the mirrors are big so that it is easier when parking, and about the road it feels much smaller than its size suggests. Boot space has a huge leap forward above the previous Countryman, with 100 liters more space offered, while more flexible features such as being a split-level boot floor along with a variety of nets help to keep smaller belongings in check. Storage inside the vehicle is good too, with a lot of cubbies throughout the center console and reasonable-sized door bins present and correct.